Welcome to the Winning Family Podcast with Rodney and Michelle Gage, a podcast designed to help you build winning relationships in your marriage and with your kids. I'm Dr. Linda Travelute, and I'm your host for the Winning Family Podcast. We want to say thank you for joining us. We are so grateful, and I'll tell you what, it would mean the world to us if you would subscribe to our podcast and rate and review it to let us know you find the content helpful and encouraging. And hey, share these episodes with your friends. At the end of today's podcast, we've got a little goodie for you, and your friends can take advantage of it too. We're going to share how you can get a copy of Rodney's new book. It's called The Double Win. And if you're watching us on YouTube, which we encourage you to do, check it out. It's a beautiful book. Great read. I've started reading it myself, and I am impressed, my friend. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Man, wish I could show it to my English teacher from a school that I attended one time. Won't name names of the specific school, but man, he would be so proud.
He would be so proud. He would. Well, if that teacher is listening or watching, hey, go to this I'm going to share with you how, at the end of the podcast, how you can get your hands on a copy and see how your student Rodney Gage did. You're going to be so proud. But hey, good to have you guys here. We're excited. We're going to bring some amazing content today. Rodney and Michelle Gage.
Linda.
Yeah, we're going to talk about how to build your child's self-confidence. Such an important topic.
It sure is.
As we dive in, I know you've got like a list of 5 things, right? But I think as we get started, you're going to talk about how you can encourage your child to do these 5 things. Number 1 is be yourself, right? Be yourself. How would you do that? How would you encourage your kids to just be themselves?
You know, I think in the world in which we live, you know, what a great privilege we have to help build our children's confidence. You know, I don't know if there's anything you want to speak into that, Rodney, but it's so important that we help build their confidence, because it's not necessarily being done, or it's not a priority of people around them to be building that inner self, that inner confidence in their lives, what we like to call Godfidence too.
Yeah. You know, I read in just the basic definition of the word confidence is a feeling or a belief that you can do something well or succeed in something. And, you know, what child, what student, teenager who doesn't need that? We all need that confidence that we can do something, we can succeed in something. And I think for a lot of kids today, I think there's a lot of kids who, for various reasons, their confidence has been diminished. And, you know, we've talked in previous episodes about worth and value and all of that. But, you know, unfortunately, there's a lot of competition in our culture today. And social media has, I think, just kind of like breeded this whole culture of competition. And we're constantly comparing and competing with this and that. And so there's so much pressure these days with kids, pressure academically, pressure to succeed at whatever sport or whatever club, you know, or activity, you know, that their friends are all involved in. And, you know, it's that constant pressure to perform. And that in and of itself can deflate, you know, that confidence, because there's so much pressure that's overwhelming. And so, and unfortunately, if the parent is one who's also, you know, maybe it may not be their intention, but they're maybe adding some of that additional pressure where, you know, whether it's competing in the classroom or competing on the ball field or cheerleading squad or, you know, the band or whatever, well, all of a sudden the kids are carrying this weight of pressure.
Yeah.
And they're trying to conform to be something maybe they don't really want to be, you know, but they feel this pressure to be a certain way or to succeed at a certain level in order to find acceptance or to find approval. And that's a lot of pressure. And so that's unhealthy. And so we do want to free our kids up to be themselves, to be who God made them to be, and to seek ultimately their confidence in who He made them to be. And as part of our responsibility, help guide them and help show them and direct them in a way that allows them to truly discover those unique characteristics and qualities that are unique about them.
That's
And
right.
they can be secure in that.
Yep.
You know, new cars that are out there now that are electric cars, they have charging stations in the home. You know, they can actually install a charging station in the home. And I was just thinking as you were talking about that, why don't we be the place, the safe haven for our children where they get in, they come in and they get a charge. They get charged
Awesome.
up in their confidence from us. And then they go back out into the world. It might drain down a bit, but we charge them back up because
Supercharged.
that's right. Get a supercharged station of confidence, because it's such a great privilege that we have to fill them up with that.
So what would that look like? Like, can you think back to how you did that for your kids? Like, what did you say to them to charge them up?
Yeah, I think as you pointed out, like be yourself is the first point that we're going to discuss, because God made us all unique and different.
Yeah.
So unique and different. And like you said, Rodney, that, you know, our culture sometimes will kind of get you into a certain flow. And, you know, one thing in a certain area might be a popular thing to do, whether that's soccer or if that is baseball, if that's cheerleading. I think about our kids. They kind of our girls went down a path of cheerleading, because that's kind of what everybody was doing. But as they were over year after year after year, we realized they were great cheerleaders. I mean, they were good cheerleaders. And every year the team coach wanted them to audition again, or not audition. I'm a musician. Sorry. Try out. So anyway, but we started to realize that wasn't actually the one thing that they were best at. They may have been good at a couple of different things, and they decided to take their own path. And we encouraged them, be yourself. Yeah. You don't have to be like the other girl, you know, or all your other friends that are on the cheer squad. It's okay if you want to play tennis. Good. Be yourself and do what you're best at. And there was a lot of disappointment, you know, in the coach and the girls moms. Like, oh my gosh,
that's okay,
crazy. Right? But they went on their own path, and one of them went on the path of music and singing and worship. And we're so thankful that they did, because it opened doors for them along the way, because they were themselves, they fulfilled the purpose really that God created them to do.
We also, just to answer your question, even on a practical level, I remember all three of our kids, even like what Michelle was just describing when the girls were like in cheerleading, but even like our son Luke, I remember he played baseball there for a little season. We always just told them, look, just go out there and smile. Just smile. Your smile needs to be the biggest out of everybody else. Just go out there and smile. And I said, what will happen? I said, if you go out there and you have a big smile and you go out there and you just have fun, well, guess what? You're going to set the atmosphere for everybody else. And if they don't conform to that, guess what? You're going to stand out with the biggest smile out of everybody. That's right. And it was hilarious, because I remember still to this day, our son Luke, of course, he had red hair. He'd put on his helmet, you know, to go out there, and he'd step up to the plate. And man, he had a smile across his face, and everybody else was so intense and so serious, but he was just up there just smiling. And it was just so much fun, because it allowed him to kind of be freed up from the pressure of having to hit the home run or whatever. And we just like, you just be you. Go out there and have fun. Put a big smile on your face. And it was always cool, because, you know, people gravitated to him because of the smile, because of the fun that he just seemed to have. And I think sometimes, man, we have a tendency to just take ourselves and take the situation or take circumstances so serious that we just forget, you know, to enjoy life. Just be yourself. Just go out there and have a great time.
Yeah, and I think it's different seasons of parenting too, right? So when they're little like that, be yourself is different than the season we're in right now with our adult children. To continue, be, who God created you to be. It's okay. You don't have to, conform even at their age, in their 20s, that, be who God created you to be, and He's going to open the right doors for you.
That's so good. Takes the pressure off of them, which is incredibly freeing.
Right.
Yeah, so good.
Right.
Okay, so to build confidence in your children, the first one is encourage them to be themselves. The second one, and Michelle, you already alluded to this, is to do your best. But elaborate on that just a little bit more. How do you encourage them to do their best?
Yeah, excellence is one of our core values, as a family and as a church too. It's our way. It's the spirit in which we have decided, and that is a value to us, to do things with excellence and to do your best. So that can, start with making your bed in the morning.
Yeah.
It can start with getting up and on time, and those sort of things are some of the simple things that we taught our kids. But just making that a way of life for them to always do their best, because we work unto the Lord, not unto men. And one of my favorite scriptures, I just read it a couple of days ago, is in Proverbs 22. At the very last scripture of Proverbs 22, it says that those that are excellent in their work, they will stand before kings. And someone had spoken that to me. I sat next to a manager, a talent manager on an airplane. And I was talking to him about my daughter, because she was younger and she was pursuing music and possibly going into pop music. And I was just asking him, what are some things that you would encourage me to say to my daughter? And he said, I would encourage her to memorize that scripture. Just be excellent in what you do, and God will promote you. He'll put you in front of the right people. So that's always stuck with me. But just doing your very, very best is something that's so important to teach our children.
That's so good.
Yeah. And I think there is a difference and a distinction between perfection and excellence.
That's good.
Because it's not, I think the pressure the kids feel, and they may not say this, but in their own internal drive, because of the pressure they're under, it's like they have to be perfect. They have to be perfect in the way they look and the way they dress, and perfect with their grades, perfect in how they perform, because there's so much pressure to perform. But the issue is not being perfect. The issue is just giving our best. I like to say it this way: just do the best you can with the gifts and the abilities that God has given you, and trust Him for the rest. We can't. There's only so much we can do.
That's right.
And then at the end of the day, how good is good enough?
Yeah.
And so again, a lot of the pressure that so many kids are under today is the external pressure from everything that our culture and society places upon them. And so there is this unrealistic goal, this unattainable, level that they're trying to achieve, and they seemingly are unsatisfied because they feel like they don't ever measure up. They don't ever get there. And so it's not about reaching perfection. It's about just giving our best and doing our best with the gifts and the abilities. It's just bringing our best. And you know what? Yeah. It's like this. If I'm a baseball player, well, I can't get up to the plate and expect to hit a home run every single time I swing the bat.
Right.
But you know what? Sometimes I'm going to strike out. Yeah. But sometimes I'm going to get on base. Sometimes I may hit a double. Right. Every so often I may hit a triple. But at the end of the day, I just get up there and take swings. I just get up there and do my best and leave the rest to God. And
doing your best doesn't mean you are the best. You have to be the best.
Absolutely.
Just do your best.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I touch on that for just a second with, young girls. I think what you're talking about, the comparison, that's just not reality with our social media and the things that they face in their mind, the ways that their mind will tell themselves that they just don't measure up. It's just so important that we speak life. We continue to speak life and truth into them, that, you do your best, be your best, and like you said, give the rest to the Lord and let God finish off what is not the best in us, and just reminding them that they don't have to be perfect. And it's just so important that we speak life.
That's good. So we've got be your best, do your best, don't compare. Did we just cover that?
Somewhat,
kind of, right?
That's
And
a huge one, though, that is important. That it's just to reinforce the fact to our kids that it's unfair to compare. You be you.
Yeah.
You stay in your lane. Who cares what everybody else is doing? Who cares what somebody else says? You do who God made you to be. You be you when it comes to who God made you to be. And if that's different than what your teacher says, if that's different than what your friends say, at the end of the day, we can't compare, what somebody else has accomplished. We can't compare ourselves against that. We can't compare ourselves with someone's academic, achievements and abilities. That's the one area I have found to be probably one of the greatest sources of stress for kids today is the academic pressure. And because they start young, and I get it. I understand that we need to push and stretch and strive to become our best. We're not minimizing that, but I do think that there is so much pressure today for kids to, be in this certain path and to conform to this certain mold academically, because if you don't, the consequences, that's what's being reinforced. The consequences, if you do not get a certain GPA, then you don't get qualified to get accepted in the best of schools. And if you don't make it to this school, then your career's over.
Right.
Man, what kind of message?
Pressure.
What kind of message does that send?
It's a lot of pressure.
So if now all of a sudden I'm having to compare my ability to this person's ability or my gifting to this person's ability. Just a case in point, going back to, we were talking about our son a few moments ago, our son Luke. He had a situation when he was, 8 years old, 7 or 8 years old, when Luke was diagnosed with a hip disease. Super long story short, he was in a wheelchair for just right at 3 years, a little over 3 years. But he was active playing sports.
Before then.
And then when that happened, that sidelined him. So he was in a wheelchair for 3 years. Well, it was during those 3 years that he picked up a guitar, started learning how to play guitar, started gravitating to music, started playing around with the piano and the keyboard. Little did we know that it was through that season of his life that all of a sudden there was an artistic bent about him that we probably would have never discovered, or perhaps never really would have maybe encouraged him to pursue.
Right.
And what ended up happening was that became his destiny. That became his path. That was his lane. He's a creative. He's a right brainer. He's one of these guys that, can think outside the box. That is not the traditional, inside the box formula. And so, at the end of the day, we all have to be our best, do our best with the gifts and the abilities that God has made us. And it's unfair to compare.
Right. That's good. Good reminder. Do not compare. Let your kids know that they don't have to compare, right? And the next one you suggest is have them associate with confident friends. Yeah. And I think that is so wise. Yeah. Break that down for us.
Confidence comes in different packages. So the right kind of confidence is important too.
So good.
Confident people develop, or confident people believe in other people. Confident people celebrate other people. And that's true of children too. When they're confident, they're not worried, about competition a lot of times. If the right kind of confident friends. So those are the kind of friends that we need to encourage our children to have. And also we, demonstrate friendship to our children. So what kind of friends do we have around us as their parents? What are they seeing as a model of friendship in our lives? And I think that's just super important for them to know. The right kind of friends is one of the greatest decisions that you will make in life. And when we, as they're younger, when you see them traveling towards different friends that may not be the right kind of confident friend that you're looking for them, you help them realize that and help call out what you value as a family. What are your core values, and does this kind of align with what we believe? So
let me ask you a follow-up question. If you had, and I know that you're chomping at the bit wanting to share this next point, but so you just said call out the friends that may be good for them, right? The right type of friends. What for someone who's listening and they don't really understand what that would look like, can you think of a very practical example of calling out what you want them to pursue or who you want them to hang out with?
I think great question, Linda. I think that it also depends on the season of life that they're in. True. As the younger ones would be a little bit different than the season that we're in. So like right now, the season we're in is our two oldest are married, and we're so thankful for our son-in-laws, our sons. And then our son is not married. So when it comes to maybe girls that he is interested in dating, call it out. Well, I will call it out. I'll say, well, look at this young lady, look at what she has posted. Look at what she talks about, versus this other person, Mama will call it out. And we have along the way, this is what, would be the type of person that you'd be looking for in life.
And you're doing that without degrading them or without saying, hey, this person's a loser.
No. Oh, gosh, no. No. I think it's more about, I'm glad you said that, because it's really more about finding the right person. Yeah. So calling out the qualities that you're looking for,
I love
in a friendship for your child. As they're younger, wasn't that amazing how she, sent that little note to you? That's the great kind of friend. That's the right kind of friend you want to have.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Helping, it's helping identify those positive qualities and characteristics, attributes that really do stand out, that again help reinforce your values and things that are important to you as a family.
Right.
That really helps reinforce to our children that, this person here has the kind of personality, has the kind of spirit, has the attitude that is going to be somebody who's probably going to be a really good friend to you. Yeah. This person over here, it's a little cocky, that's totally self-absorbed, there's always got to have their way, or they're critical of their other friends, they're always talking down about other friends. You need to stay away from those friends. That's what 1 Corinthians 15:33 says, bad company corrupts good character.
Yes.
And so, at the end of the day, our confidence is caught and it's contagious. And I liken it to, the world of sports. So we've all seen, a basketball team, for example, or maybe a football team who's maybe down a touchdown or two, or, they're down by maybe 10 points in a basketball game. But all it takes is for, one play where all of a sudden the team that's down 2 touchdowns, all of a sudden somebody runs a 50-yard touchdown, and all of a sudden everybody's running it. What does that do? Man, all of a sudden the confidence of the whole, it shifts the atmosphere of the whole team. Where the guy's shooting the 3-pointers, all of a sudden now that score is tied, well, all of a sudden everybody's confidence level has just been risen. And I think when we surround ourselves with other people who are secure and they're confident, what happens is that becomes contagious. And, I think it's just important that we surround, as the Bible says, iron sharpens iron. So one so one person sharpens another.
Right.
So we have to surround ourselves with people that are going to stretch us and challenge us, but at the same time, they are there to help support us and affirm us and compliment us. You know,
also,
in
I
all
think,
those areas.
Linda, too, when we first started talking about the charging station as our home kind of being that safe haven and the place where they're learning their values and building their foundation for their life. It's okay to say, and we've talked about this on other podcasts as well, that this person, we're not going to actually even allow this relationship, because it is so against what our core values are. And sometimes I feel like, I remember how hard that was to do because I didn't want my child not to like me. I want, we want to be our child's friend a lot of times, but we are the one that speaks truth and life into them. We get that privilege as their parents. God gave them to us. And so different seasons of life, it's important that maybe even sometimes we say, nope, that friendship is not, it's not aligning with us as a family. And as of right now, this is a no for you.
Right. Yeah. Parents need to be willing to stand their ground and be strong about those things. That's good.
Right. Yeah.
So all this to help them associate with confident friends. And
right.
Your last point in the last few moments that we have here is serve others through a worthwhile purpose. How does that play out? Serve others. I know you guys can talk about serving because you've got an army of folks that help you at Rethink Life. But what does that look like, serving others through a worthwhile purpose?
I think when you take the focus off of yourself and you put it on other people, and there is a cause, there's a mission, there's a higher and greater purpose. It's just bigger than yourself. There's great joy, satisfaction, and fulfillment that comes from that. And when you can say, when you put your head down, when our kids are participating in something that they know that they're helping make a difference in someone else's life. For example, we've been Compassion International sponsors. So we've had a little boy that we've sponsored for, goodness, I don't know what happened, for a long time.
Probably close to 10 years now,
And so, we talked about that, and that was a part of, something that our family all was participating in, And because of that, we were able to put a face and a name together with somebody, an individual, somebody whose life that we're touching.
Fabrice.
Yeah, and we're able to watch him grow and develop. And so what that does is it allows us to be able to find a greater sense of purpose that's bigger than ourselves, knowing that we are contributing, we are actually making a difference. And there's just something about that just builds our confidence because we know that we are fulfilling our divine design. We are fulfilling our destiny. We are pursuing at that higher calling and purpose that God has placed us on this earth to fulfill. And when kids find that purpose, they have a sense of mission about them, man, it builds their confidence. And that's so important.
It's even just little things, serving, an elderly neighbor for you as a mom or as a dad to say, hey, we're going to go over and help this person. We're going to ask them, like, Luke, I want you to go over across the street and I want you to ask her what you can do to help her today. If there's anything that she needs, those little things like that, or finding the opportunity. Our serve day, is a part of our summer experience. And we just having the opportunity to get out, connect with your church, and give your kids the opportunity to serve, go on mission trips. All of those things are helping them broaden their horizon beyond your family and beyond themselves, that there's a world in need. And when we serve, it brings so much joy to our lives.
So good. This has been so valuable. I love the idea that building your child's self-confidence is like giving them that charging station in your home, right?
Yes.
So you've outlined 5 things today, which is so good. Encourage your child to be themselves, to do their best, to not compare, to associate with confident friends, and to serve others through a worthwhile purpose. That's so good. So as we wrap up our time together today, we want to say thank you. We're so glad you joined us. And we want to encourage you to do a couple of things. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And know that we really do want to hear from you. We want to receive any questions that you have, because I know Rodney and Michelle are looking forward to answering some questions in future podcast episodes, right?
Yes.
Do a whole Q&A at some point. And we'd appreciate it if you would subscribe, rate, review. That lets us know if we're on the right track here. And as promised, are you ready? I'm going to show you again the book. This is The Double Win by Rodney Gage. You can get a free copy of this book. Yep, I said free copy of this book when you subscribe to Rodney and Michelle's monthly mentoring program called the Double Win Club. And the first 30 days are free. That's very generous of you guys. The first 30 days is free. So how do you sign up for that? I'm going to share with you right now. Write it down. You ready? TheDoubleWinClub.com. That's where you go. Head over to TheDoubleWinClub.com and you'll learn more about Rodney and Michelle's family mentoring program. It is the ultimate double win. And until next time, we're here to help you win at home and at life.